So we just kicked off the second day of the BlueOrchard Impact Summit here in the beautiful Swiss mountains, and I now have the honor to be joined by none other than Grammy Award winner, musician, composer and author Andreas Vollenweider. Andreas, welcome and good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm happy to be here.
So, it's not every day that you see a musician attend an investor event as a speaker. What was your motivation to attend the BlueOrchard Impact Summit?
Well, I am a musician, but I'm also a human being, being interested in the world and how and the development of our society. And one of the key interests is, of course, how are we going to handle this complex world, and what are we going to do about making it into a better place, or nowadays making it into a place that has a future.
Yes.
It's very dramatic, sounds a bit dramatic, but I think it is.
True, absolutely. Wonderful. And you're coming from a quite different angle than many here. What is your message to the participants of the finance industry?
Well, being in the finance industry, being responsible for vast quantities of money, which is, in my view, is energy, and the responsibility is really, really big to use it wisely, and to also justice, fairness, and equality is not just a nice to have. It's not just a ethical or moral decoration. It must be much more. Absolutely. Because we're 8.2 billion people on this planet. And if only 10% of these people would wake up, fairness, equality and justice will be a matter of survival of our species.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. And I know we just kicked off the second day, but while listening to the various discussions so far, maybe yesterday during the opening or the dinner, was there something that surprised you in particular?
What surprised me was how many people are obviously interested in this topic, in this field, vast field of topics, of making this planet into a better place, and seeing the urgency. That is something that I'm really surprised, and positively surprised, of course. And I'm really happy if I can contribute something to this, this whole movement.
Yeah, wonderful, beautiful. Thank you. And now, last but not least, if there is one thing you could ask everyone to change, what would it be?
I wouldn't think it needs a change. It needs a recognition of a fact that is here. We are a community on this planet. We share much more than what makes us different. And the topics of the problems of this world can only be addressed by feeling as a community, and to establish this self-awareness of we are not just us, we are a community, would work like a booster to everything we're doing in terms of our efforts to make the planet better.
Yes.
And so I strongly advise everyone, including myself, let's come together as not just intellectually, but let's feel the power of community.
Join forces, be more compassionate.
I have been traveling around the world 50 years, and I've seen everything. I've visited every culture, every country, and I've felt this strong power of community.
Were there particular areas or countries where you felt it the most, or that stood out more than the others, maybe?
I think in some countries it was easier to really recognize, to really realize that, because people weren't so complicated. If you do that in America or in Europe, people they all have their opinions and they go. But for instance, in Africa, I've noticed people are much more open and they express their thoughts much more easily without the complicated intellectual buildings around it. It's more straight.
And it's also a question of survival for them, probably more than, let's say, in this part of the world.
This is really true.
You need to join forces.
I think that's the key.
It's
for some, it's a matter of survival.
Yes.
And so we can learn a lot from these cultures that need.
Takes a village, as they say, right?
Takes a village.
Yeah. Beautiful, Andreas. Thank you so much. I really
hope you
enjoyed.
Can use something of
Absolutely, I really enjoyed our conversation. I'm sure so did our listeners. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event.
I will.
Thank you, Andreas.
Thanks.